Do you mind paying more tax?
Well, I wouldn't be foolish. I would rather have all the money and the government run great without the money, and I'd give it away to other people. But, I don't think, obviously it's not practical. We got to, have infrastructure and all the other.
I think the IRS should investigate those. The idea that those people don't pay taxes is bonkers to me. People didn't like that you were making it.
There was a lot of opposition to it. And I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're going to get people going.
What happens when two of the most outspoken figures in Hollywood and podcasting join forces to take on one of the most controversial televangelists in America? Today, we're diving deep into the explosive moment when Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson teamed up to expose Joel Osteen. What did they say? Why is everyone talking about it? And what does this mean for the future of faith, fame, and accountability? This is a story about power, controversy, and the clash between two very different worlds. Stick around, because this is one story you don't want to miss.
And how are we supposed to know the good guys from the bad guys? Well, we were given a standard by which to judge them. By their fruits, you'll know them. Anybody seen any good fruit lately? No.
To understand this explosive moment, we need to first meet the key players. On one side, we have Mel Gibson, the Hollywood maverick, known for his iconic roles in Braveheart, Lethal Weapon, and Mad Max. But Mel isn't just an actor. He's also a director, producer, and a man with a deeply complicated relationship with faith. His 2004 film, The Passion of the Christ, was a cultural phenomenon that sparked global debates about religion, art, and storytelling. Mel's career has been marked by both incredible highs and devastating lows. He's faced public scandals, personal struggles, and career setbacks. But through it all, he's remained unapologetically himself. Love him or hate him, Mel Gibson is a man who speaks his mind, no matter the consequences. Then there's Joe Rogan, the king of podcasting.
Isn't it funny how it's only funny if it's you? Like, you're allowed to laugh about getting molested as long as it's you.
With over 200 million downloads per month. The Joe Rogan Experience is one of the most influential platforms in the world. Joe is known for his unfiltered conversations, his willingness to tackle tough topics, and his ability to bring out the raw, unfiltered truth from his guests. Whether it's politics, science, or spirituality, Joe isn't afraid to ask the hard questions. And that's exactly what he did when Mel Gibson sat down with him. And finally, we have Joel Osteen, the smiling preacher who leads Lakewood Church, one of the largest megachurches in America. With his messages of hope, positivity, and prosperity, Joel has amassed a global following.
You haven't seen it, but you keep believing. God says there's a blessing coming. Because you believe without the evidence, believe without the sign, favor is coming, healing is coming, victory is coming.
His sermons are broadcast in over 100 countries. His books are bestsellers, and his church can seat 16,000 people. But behind the glittering facade lies a series of controversies that have left many questioning his authenticity. So, what happens when these three worlds collide? Let's find out.
You make vast sums of money. I'm right in thinking, I think the church takes in $80 million a year, but all of that gets ploughed back into the church. Is that right?
That's correct.
But on the books, which sell by the squillion, you keep all the cash.
Well, we give. We're big givers, I'll promise you that. But
takers as well?
Sure.
Keep some of it?
We do.
Would you have any problem ethically?
When you have to pay the light bill,
Exactly, yeah. But you're like multi-millionaires, aren't you?
Well, we don't have any problem. I don't think God has any problem with you being blessed. It's where your heart is. Our heart was just to go out and make money and let's become rich and do this and that.
Before we get to the explosive moment between Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson, let's take a closer look at why Joel Osteen is such a polarizing figure. On the surface, Joel is the epitome of success. His sermons are uplifting, his smile is infectious, and his message of hope resonates with millions. But beneath the surface lies a series of controversies that have left many questioning his authenticity.
We're going to take a moment to receive our tithes and our offerings. Thanks for your generosity, your donations each week that keep the ministry going.
First, there's the issue of wealth. Joel Osteen lives in a $10.5 million mansion, drives luxury cars, and wears designer suits. While his supporters argue that he's earned his success, Critics point to Bible verses like Matthew 19:24, which warns about the dangers of wealth. They ask, is Joel's lifestyle in line with the teachings of Jesus, or has he strayed from the path of humility? Then there's the infamous Hurricane Harvey controversy. In 2017, when Houston was devastated by floods, Lakewood Church was accused of not opening its doors to those in need fast enough. Social media erupted with outrage, and Joel's reputation took a hit.
Social media, there was a firestorm. Osteen and his church became the target of anger and criticism for not immediately opening the church to victims of the storm.
While the church later clarified that flooding made the building unsafe initially, the damage was done. For many, this incident highlighted a disconnect between Joel's message of hope and his actions in a time of crisis. And let's not forget the criticism of his prosperity gospel teachings.
You know, you've been criticized for church light.
Yeah, that's right.
For a cotton candy message. Do you feel like you're cheating people by not telling them about the hell part? The repentance part?
No, I really don't, because it's a different approach.
Joel's sermons often focus on positivity, success, and financial blessings. But some argue that this message oversimplifies faith and ignores the struggles of everyday life. Is Joel Osteen truly spreading the gospel, or is he selling a watered-down version of Christianity? These are the questions that have made Joel a controversial figure, and the reason why Mel Gibson and Joe Rogan decided to speak out.
I believe that God sent his son down to tell us, okay, I'm going to ransom you people from your fallen nature, and I'll give you a roadmap on how to do it. And people do it. There's even people that do it that I've never even heard of it. You know, some guy in the jungle someplace, I'm sure.
Right.
You know, because the Creator is above the law.
Now, let's get to the moment that set the internet on fire. During an episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, Mel Gibson sat down with Joe for a candid conversation about faith, Hollywood, and the state of modern religion. As the discussion turned to the role of religious leaders, Mel's tone shifted. He began to speak about accountability, authenticity, and the dangers of mixing faith with fame. While Mel didn't mention Joel Osteen by name, his comments were pointed enough to spark speculation. He talked about leaders who prioritize wealth and popularity over genuine spiritual guidance. He questioned whether some televangelists were more interested in building empires than serving their congregations. And he didn't hold back when it came to calling out hypocrisy in the church.
Personally, I know many priests who have been canceled, but not for the reasons you'd think. I mean, it's not like they did a hit-and-run drive and left the scene of the crime, or embezzled church funds, stole the altar wine, or committed some other heinous crime. No, not at all. And who's persecuting them? Well, their own bishops. How's that? Yep. Who are they? Well, they're a pack of men who generally passively sit by and tolerate any kind of nonsense, but if one of their priests utters something that resembles orthodoxy, well, then they spring into action, they reprimand him, and they bully him and do their best to cancel him. And it's a symptom of a very deep sickness that afflicts the church.
I mean, it's a dark institution in a lot of ways, because it's history, you know.
Well, you know, the institution, it was instituted by Christ, you know, but that doesn't mean that it can't be flawed. And there's a school of thought that says it isn't what it purports to be anymore. It's moved away from what it was intended to be and what it is.
Joe Rogan, never one to shy away from a tough question, pressed Mel for more details. The conversation grew intense, with both men expressing their concerns about the direction of modern ministry. It was a rare moment of raw honesty, and it left viewers wondering, was Mel Gibson talking about Joel Osteen? And if so, what does this mean for the future of televangelism? As soon as the episode aired, the internet exploded. Fans and critics alike took to social media to dissect Mel Gibson's comments. Some applauded him for speaking out, calling it a long overdue critique of Joel Osteen's ministry. Others accused Mel of being hypocritical, pointing to his own controversial past. Memes, tweets, and think pieces flooded the internet, with everyone weighing in on the debate. Was Mel right to call out Joel Osteen? Or was this just another example of Hollywood versus religion? the conversation quickly spiraled into a larger discussion about faith, fame, and the responsibilities of public figures. One thing was clear: Mel Gibson and Joe Rogan had struck a nerve. Whether intentional or not, their conversation had brought the controversies surrounding Joel Osteen back into the spotlight, and people couldn't stop talking about it.
He who loves his life loses it. That is, if you pamper yourself and strategize always for comfort and security, you're going to lose it. In other words, you don't buy your best life now. It's not your best life now. It's hard. Best life later.
What is this message? We save ourselves, all the things that are wrong in our lives, by our own divine faith power. In his book, Your Best Life Now. And by the way, I want to hasten to say, he's absolutely right. If you believe in what he says in that book, this will be your best life. It'll be a whole lot better than the next one. If you want your best life now, go for his theology. If you want your best life forever, avoid it.
So, what does this all mean? At its core, the conversation between Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson highlights a much bigger issue: the intersection of faith and fame. In a world where religious leaders are often treated like celebrities, and celebrities are often treated like religious leaders, the lines between spirituality and entertainment have become increasingly blurred. This raises important questions about accountability. Should we hold religious leaders to the same standards as Hollywood stars? Or do we expect more from them because of the spiritual guidance they provide? And what happens when those leaders fall short of our expectations? These are the questions that Mel Gibson and Joe Rogan's conversation forces us to confront. Whether or not you agree with their views, one thing is certain: this moment has sparked a much-needed dialogue about the role of faith in modern society. To fully understand the significance of this moment, we need to take a step back and look at the history of televangelism. Televangelists have been a part of American culture for decades, using television and radio to spread their messages to millions. But with great influence comes great scrutiny, and televangelists have often been accused of exploiting their followers for personal gain. In the 1980s, scandals rocked the world of televangelism. Figures like Jim Bakker and Jimmy Swaggart were exposed for financial misconduct and moral failings, leading to a crisis of faith for many believers. These scandals left a lasting impact, and to this day, televangelists are often viewed with suspicion. Joel Osteen represents a new generation of televangelists, one that has learned from the mistakes of the past. His message is polished, his image is pristine, and his brand is built on positivity rather than fire and brimstone preaching. But as Mel Gibson and Joe Rogan's conversation shows, the old criticisms still linger. Is Joel Osteen truly different from the televangelists of the past, or is he just better at hiding his flaws?
You know, in my lowest points, God was there with me and sending me visions and inspiring me.
Faith is very different. I think faith is knowing that no matter what, you're going to be okay. And I've always been a part of that faithful. I used to be a little preacher.
God has already loved me for who I am before I did anything to earn and deserve it. It's a free gift by accepting Jesus and just giving your life to him. And what he did is the gift. The forgiveness is the thing that we look at and, I'm going to worship you, God, because you gave me something so good.
The conversation between Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson also raises questions about the role of celebrity in modern religion. In recent years, we've seen a growing trend of celebrities embracing faith and using their platforms to spread spiritual messages. Take Kanye West, for example. Once known for his rap music and controversial statements, Kanye has reinvented himself as a gospel artist and preacher. His Sunday service events and his album Jesus is King have sparked both praise and criticism, with some applauding his newfound devotion and others questioning his motives. Then there's Oprah Winfrey, who has long been a spiritual figure in her own right. While not traditionally religious, Oprah has used her platform to promote self-help, mindfulness, and personal growth. Her discussions about faith and spirituality have resonated with millions, but they've also drawn criticism from religious leaders who accuse her of promoting a watered-down version of Christianity. Even Justin Bieber has gotten in on the act, using his music and social media to share his Christian faith. But as with Kanye and Oprah, his efforts have been met with mixed reactions. So, what does this mean for the future of religion? Are celebrities like Joel Osteen, Kanye West, and Oprah Winfrey helping to bring faith to a new generation? Or are they diluting its message? And where do figures like Mel Gibson and Joe Rogan fit into this equation? These are the questions that this moment forces us to confront. So, what's next for Joel Osteen? In the wake of the controversy sparked by Mel Gibson and Joe Rogan, Joel has remained largely silent. But the questions about his ministry, his wealth, and his authenticity aren't going away anytime soon. For Joel's supporters, this is just another example of the media trying to tear down a man of faith. They argue that Joel's message of hope and positivity is exactly what the world needs, and that his success is a testament to the power of his teachings. But for his critics, this moment is a wake-up call. They believe that Joel Osteen represents everything that's wrong with modern religion, a focus on wealth, fame, and superficiality at the expense of genuine spiritual growth. As the debate continues, one thing is clear. The conversation about faith, fame, and accountability is far from over. Whether you're a fan of Joel Osteen, Mel Gibson, or Joe Rogan, this moment has forced us all to take a closer look at the role of religion in our lives and the people we choose to lead us. So what do you think? Was Mel Gibson right to call out Joel Osteen, or has this all been blown out of proportion? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that matter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.